If you love what we do, then please consider supporting Kritfayle on Patreon. Your support helps us grow and to create more content more often. And now, on with the show.
Well, we've already failed to get the title of the book that we're supposed to, well, the manuscript that we're supposed to be stealing. We do know the author. Yeah, because I was thinking that if I could have hacked into their servers, I could have created a work order, which would have allowed me to go in, ascertain where their mainframe is.
If you want to spend your white, which will give it to me as a black, I will allow you to find out who their service company is.
Gee, that kind of plays into the plan I just had that I was gonna try and do without spending the white quite yet. But we can spend it to go through, because I was gonna say we could try and impersonate IT text.
Exactly, that was the other option. So either go in as a office worker or go in as IT techs. Except you would have to keep your mouth closed. Or Terence would have to keep his mouth closed.
If I say something stupid, then you could just tell them I'm in training.
Ah, yeah.
So we still need to dress up for this. Are you going to use your super tech skills to find out which company they use to service their computers?
Yes. I think that's probably the better plan of the two.
Alright. Can you do that on the taxi ride back to my place, or do you want to do that once we get there and while I'm glamming you up?
I'm probably better off getting some info so we can, when we do get back to your place, we can, in case we have to stop off to get some uniforms on the way back.
Oh, I'm sure I can finagle something out of my closet. Come on. Is the taxi with George McGruffin still there?
Yep.
Cool. Terence is like, he's gonna get into the taxi again. He's not gonna do anything but start chatting with the taxi driver until Cipher gets in too, which she might not do right away, which is totally fair.
I actually assumed that Cipher hadn't left the taxi. We were just scoping the place out.
Oh. Okay, then Terence has been talking to you through the window because he did get outside and stared at the building from I guess, a sidewalk of some sorts. He's not discreet. Alright, so he gets back in the taxi and he gives George the address for his apartment.
George drives off.
Cipher's gonna log into a laptop and find out who this work company is.
What does int syntax mean?
What does what mean?
That line you just typed out. You're typing, like, this is crazy computer stuff. I'm just trying to understand this one line that is 2 words. The rest of it is all too long. What language is this?
English.
He's looking at you, and he's looking back at the screen of your computer, and he looks back at you, and he's like, that's not English.
Yep, that's English, trust me.
That English is wrong.
So she's banging away on the keyboard quite quickly. She's brought up the terminal window, doing a bit of making sure that any activity that, creating a VPN so that she is not identifiable on the net. And yeah, after a few searches on a few dubious sites that she knows about, she's finally worked out, aha! I finally found it. Do we have any information on this mob?
You probably would have heard of them. They'd be reasonably large. There'd be like a contractor service sort of thing that they specialise in doing IT work.
Alright, so they have a Marlet IT Services. They're the ones that be fixing their computers.
Alright. I don't know. I don't even have a computer. Do you know anything about this IT service?
I'm looking up to see what they, if I could find any images on the net.
Oh yeah, there'd be some. Like Google, but like even the equivalent of Google Street View and stuff like that. They're a reasonably large multi-story centre that handles all their sort of central stuff.
Now, the next thing I wanted to do
Just hack them.
is hack them. Exactly.
All right, give me a roll. 3 purple.
Oh, 3. Oh, dear God. So I'm looking at hacking.
Okay, you actually hack in, but you have a threat open.
Okay.
So it's hard, but you actually find the you think it's the remote access for guys in the field if they need to access the server to get information or something like this. So you find that sort of avenue and you hack in through there.
Is there a way to create a work order through this avenue?
I'll allow it. You're in the system, so I'll allow it. But just remember, you've got a threat to spot.
Okay. I'm able to create a work order for the company, but it's not registered through to the actual where we're through the corporation that we're going to. Would that be considered a threat?
It could be. So they won't. So how will that play out for you?
So when I turn up and I say, if we get pulled up and we've got a work order to be here, and they check, they'll find out that on their end there's no work order. So it might lead them to question, well, is there really a work order or is there not a work order?
But if they check at the other end, there is one.
Yep.
Oh.
Is that how a threat would work?
You could, because I mean, like if your negotiation, there'll be a negotiation role in there.
Yeah.
From someone.
Yep. Negotiation or deception?
Or deception, yeah. Because you are deceptive. I'll allow it to be like either of those two depending.
Which I don't have either.
I'm decent at both of those things. Not great, but decent.
Well, we could probably leave the talking to Terence, because we all know Terence tends to
know nothing about computers.
But
so you're pulling up to your apartment as Cipher finishes the work order.
Alrighty then. I've got our work order in place. I've got the uniform that we need to get. Do you think you got clothes that look like these? As Cipher turns the laptop around to show Terence.
And what do they look like? What does Terence see?
Okay. Okay, so basically, blue overalls with yellow striping and company logo on the back.
Oh, so it's like a
and-
jumpsuit.
Yeah, like a overalls.
Oh, specifically overall. Oh no. Are they like?
It's
Are
not
they
a
like
jumpsuit.
American overalls, or are they like just that
Well, they're
kind
not
of like the long suit, long sleeved, like full kind of body one piece thing with the zipper or
Yep.
the buttons in the front?
Yep. So, to do, actually, I'm just thinking of the MBN guys here.
I'm not trying to overcomplicate it for you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Does Terence make his own clothes?
He does sometimes. He definitely has some like random fabrics hanging out in his house, in his apartment. But he's looking at this picture and he's like, a jumpsuit.
Yeah, there's a distinct lack of style in this.
It's not a jumpsuit. They're work clothes. Okay, so it's work trousers, and they sort of look like overalls, but it's a yellow and blue long sleeve, heavy shirt and blue heavy trousers.
He's got
logo on the
the
back.
most disgusted look on his face as he stares at you while you try and defend this hideous offense to fashion.
and that's also carries with it a yellow hard top hat.
Why are you expecting a rock to fall on you while you're working on computers? What is with this outfit?
Well, you can have monitors fall, you can have limbs fall from trees when you're out working on the communications lines out in the roads. Safety, it's all about safety.
George is like looking at you, a little confused. You're trying to get into a place without breaking in. You're not actually workers. You're not going to have a limb land on you because you're not going to be doing the work outside. You don't need to method act your role.
Thank you, George. Thank you so much. We're not doing the helmets. All right. And
I just want to point out too, your accent's a bit different when you're sober.
I just realised that. It's like my voice today is just like, nah, fuck you. That's too lazy.
all right, Terence is like, oh jeez. Terence is kind of staring at you, mildly alarmed now that you've started like spontaneously changing your accent again. I'm still doing your makeup, even if we have to wear these hideous garbage bags. Thank you, George. Just Mr. Fennyman will have your money for you. If you swing by the bar. Thank you. Have a good one. And Terence exits. And then opens the door for Cipher. And he's being gentlemanly. He's like holding out his arm.
Cipher walks past with a raised eyebrow, looking past Terence. You don't have to be all manly on me. Just because you're gonna be abusing me, that doesn't mean you have to hold the door open to be courteous.
It doesn't hurt.
She's looking down at the ground, quite dejected, knowing what's gonna happen. She never.
He strolls so that he's like walking beside you. He's like, "Does that mean you don't want whiskey?"
So what? What's whiskey got to do
I've
with
got
it?
whiskey in the house. I was going to offer you some because I am a gentleman. If you don't want any, though.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I won't pass up a free whiskey. Alright, I'll suffer it. I'm going to suffer it in happiness. Be it at the end of the bottle.
Alright.
Whatever. Just don't let me get too drunk. I don't want to go staggering in there.
All right, so Terence opens the door to his apartment, and it's small-ish. It's a studio apartment, so it's like this one kind of smallish room where it's a kitchen, a living room, and a bedroom all at once. And there's like a closet off to the side, and there's like a door that probably leads to the bathroom. And he sets up a chair. Right, he doesn't have a dining table or anything. He's just got like mess everywhere. He's got like a couch beside this side table and like a coffee table in front of that, and it looks like he doesn't have a bed. He just sleeps on the couch. But like his closet, it doesn't even have doors anymore, and it is spilled out, and it is taking up roughly a third of this entire space. And it's just like clothes of various like flashiness and shoes, and just it's everywhere. It's a mess. It's piled on top of everything and itself, and you don't know how he functions in this. But he sets up a chair roughly in the middle of the room for you, and then he goes into the kitchen and he pulls out a whiskey bottle that looks like it might have 4 fingers of whiskey left in it. So enough for 2 drinks, and that's it.
2 drinks. I'm just thinking, 4 fingers. How slim are those fingers?
I don't have a method of comparison for you. Just.
So Cipher's having a look over the room. How messy is this room, or is it?
It's not messy so much as cluttered. It is very cluttered.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's a lot of clothing and fabrics everywhere. There's a book here or there, just around. There's you notice if you are looking around, you notice that in the corner of the kitchen section there seems to be this like cleaner area, and there's like a box right in the corner that has like scorch marks on it, and there's like weird stains on the wall over there.
Oh, I know what that is.
Do you?
Cipher. Is that where you practice your magic?
Sometimes. That's where I work on the alchemy part of my magic. I don't work on so much the transmutation or the sorcery, or the conjuring I'll do over there sometimes. I accidentally conjured a squid once. It was not good. He hands you like a mason jar and the bottle, and then
So you had calamari rings for dinner that night, I presume.
no, I had to banish it. It wasn't alien squid creature. It wasn't good. No. It had about 5,000 eyes and acidic slime.
Pouring the drinks.
There's only one mason jar. He's given you the rest of his whiskey.
Oh, okay.
He's wandered into the closet. He's also got like those folding screen separator things. He's got one of them anyway, and he kind of disappears behind it as he like navigates into this weird maze of closet that he's constructed out of stuff. And he comes back out, and he's got this little black box that's roughly the size of a shoebox, I guess, but it's fancier. It looks like neat and like it's covered in black leather rather than cardboard or wood.
But if you're into magic and illusions, couldn't you just whip up a couple of work uniforms for us?
I could use transmutation, but I'd need to sacrifice something for that, and I like all my stuff too much. I mean, if you want me to take your clothes and transmutate those so that you're wearing the uniform, I can do that.
Well, I've been wearing these for the last week, so they're about due for a wash.
Terence kind of wrinkles his nose, and he's like, I'll throw some detergent in the circle. And he pulls up a stool, and he puts the box on this, and then he goes into the kitchen, and like where a cutlery drawer would be, he opens it and he pulls out some chalk and some salt, and he starts like drawing a circle with like geometric shapes and strange symbols around you as you're just sitting there drinking your whiskey.
You ain't gonna be summoning the devil, are you?
I haven't tried that yet. The closest I ever got was the alien squid.
Cipher just palms her forehead.
Alright, so he finishes drawing up with chalk, and then he circles the entire thing in a ring of salt, and then kind of scatters it within the circle as well. And then he takes some powdered detergent, and he pours it in 3 separate equidistant parts of the circle, which have the same symbol on all 3 parts. He's like dedicated a part of this circle to the detergent, and he's explaining it to you. He's like, I had to finagle this a little bit because I needed to include washing. I don't want your clothes to be made out of detergent. You know what I mean?
Yep. Cipher's just looking at Terence blankly. I still don't understand the need for detergent. I mean, surely they don't smell that bad.
What's Cipher wearing right now?
Undies and a bra.
That you've been wandering around all day in just undies and a bra?
No, at the moment, she's obviously taken
That's
off her...
not obvious. No. Okay, Terence is like, why have you... Okay, I said I need to transmute your clothes. What you've got on isn't enough. I don't know why you've stripped it. Like, can you not handle that much whiskey? Put your clothes back on.
I thought we were doing this.
Here we are. You need clothes. They won't be the same after. But I need something to turn into something else. You know what I mean?
Oh, what's wrong with my shorts and shirt?
They're not on your body.
What do they need
That's
to be
part
on
of
my
the
body?
spell, yes.
What? So you're going to be doing the clothes washing
Yes.
on me? Cipher's looking more and more confused by the minute.
Just get dressed again and... Oh, jeez.
So Cipher's slowly putting her jeans and shirt back on. All right.
And he gets this glass of water and he pours it on the 3 portions of detergent so that it kind of forms a puddle in each space. He gets what looks like blue dye and he throws a highlighter in there too.
Make sure it's yellow.
It is yellow. It's a yellow highlighter. He's looking at it and he's adjusting some lines here and there with the chalk and he's like, you know what, I'm feeling lazy. And he quickly draws up a couple new sections and he places what he dubs his cheap makeups in there. And then he gets an idea and he gets really excited and he runs into like the middle, because this circle is taking up most of the apartment at this point. He runs into the middle and draws another circle immediately around you. So, and he's like, "Don't move." And he goes back into the closet and he comes back out with these ridiculous platform shoes. They're like a foot tall, and they're black and they're sparkly. They look like they're made out of plastic gemstones. And he places them under your chair. And he's like, don't worry. He backs out of the circle, and he's like, don't move, or it'll be bad.
Why am I feeling like I'm going to be the guinea pig?
And he stands, like, really, really straight, and he
I'm
puts
not sure about this.
his right hand in front of him, like in front of his chest, with his forefinger and his middle finger pointing up, and the rest of his fingers curled in on themselves as a fist. And his left hand straight out to the side.
Cipher's got her eyes closed, clenched tight. Her face is buried in her hands.
And he is going to try and transmute the clothes on you, both clean and into this uniform, in addition to altering the shoes under you to look like an extension of your leg so that you are taller. It won't actually be an extension of your leg, it'll just appear that way. So you'd be able to remove them and that would, like, destroy the illusion, but you would be about a foot taller than you are now.
I'm already feeling regret.
Because the makeup's in there too, your makeup will be done and fancy.
Not fancy, it's just enough to cover up the tattoos that I have.
To cover up the tattoos and to match the business casual that you guys saw at the building.
Yep.
Alright. Can I do this at once, or do you want me to do it separately?
No, you can do it all at once.
How many purples?
I have no idea. It's one base for the spell, and then we're adding things. You want to add one for the
Detergent.
the cleaning and a black for the shoes, or would you rather just 3 purple?
So it's 1 purple for the base, and you said another purple for
The cleaning,
and
then you have the extension.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say he's worked 2 different kinds of magics that are connected to each other. Like, transmuting and illusion are very similar.
Yeah.
The only difference being is that one creates solid objects and the other just creates visual objects. Illusions have a physical cost. It's just usually not as much as transmutation. Oh my goodness. Alright, so I'm going to do 2 purples and a black.
Okay, I am happy with that.
Here we go.
Just to, before you do,
I'm sorry.
Cipher.
Yes! What does Cipher do?
No.
I want to hear it.
I fall through.
That's really bad. I want to know what Cipher does, though.
You were so lucky that you only got threats out of everything else.
Cipher's like, no, wait. I still got my... She's holding a laptop.
Oh no! Okay.
and the bottle of whiskey. So I've got the bottle of whiskey and the laptop in the other hand. I'm like, no, wait. It's like too late.
All right. So give me a second. I need to think about this. This is so good. The chair is also in there, so that's going to be fun. For all the listeners out there, if there are any listeners, this is 2 successes and 4 threat that we're dealing with. So it happened, but badly. Alright, so Terence does his transmutation magic stance, and the entire circle, it seems like, kind of bursts into the air in this cloud of dust around you. And you feel this weird tingling sensation because the detergent isn't just cleaning your clothes, it's cleaning you. And you can feel the clothes changing on you, and it's not exactly a nice feeling. It feels kind of gross and itchy. But it's like not hurting you. It doesn't feel nice. It's an uncomfortable feeling because everything is moving while it's on you, and you're not the one moving in them. You feel the shoes kind of like fit themselves onto your feet, and like you get lifted into a standing position a lot higher than you're used to being. And as you shout, "No, wait," you can feel the spell pulling your laptop and the bottle of whiskey out of your hands. And and they're not in your hands anymore. And as the dust settles, you kind of look around. You know there's a tall mirror behind you, buddy. You don't care about that. You want to know where your laptop went. So you turn around to where the chair was.
Oh, it's me laptop and me whiskey. What have you done, you crazy fool?
You turn around to where the chair you were sitting in was, and the chair is your laptop. It's the seat part is the keyboard. The legs are weird kind of glass that was the whiskey bottle.
Baby, what have you done to me, baby? You've killed my baby.
It still works. It's just a bit janky and chair-sized now.
How am I supposed to look this fucking thing now? I'm gonna look like a regular fool walking in there. Hey, don't mind me, this is my portable laptop that's now a chair. What the fuck?
Well, if you break the legs off, I mean, they're only glass. It's not like they got they've got wires in them, I'm sorry.
Cipher's just like tears beaming down, pouring down her face. She's totally confused. How the fuck am I gonna fix this?
I thought you said you didn't actually need your laptop. You could plug your head right into the thing.
It's got all my software on it. It's got years and years of. Anyway, Cipher's just like, stop talking. She's just like staring at the what is it now? A laptop chair.
It's got the vague shape of the chair you were sitting in, so it's like the chair you were sitting in was like a short back wooden kind of like a short bar chair kind of deal. It looks like it might have been a bar chair, but the legs were sawed off so that it was more chair height, like regular chair height. But now, like, the seat and the back are your laptop, and the screen is kind of curved the way the back of the chair was. It still works, which is the weirdest part. It doesn't close. It is stuck in this open position, and the legs are these incredibly thin, like pulled glass looking thing, and there's wires going down in them. You're not sure if they serve any purpose, but it kind of loops at the bottom of this chair leg and goes back up to your computer, so you think it might.
So, you've turned me laptop into a desk, a chair desktop. What? Yeah. You don't realize I'm gonna need this when we get inside the building.
Well, you know those like standing desks they have? Well, you have a sitting desk for, you can sit on the floor and work on your computer now. And Terence has this like horrible partial smile, and he's like, maybe Mr. Fennyman has a loaner we could borrow until I can try and fix this. I gotta have to think about how I'm gonna fix this though, because I don't want to break your laptop. I want to get it back to the way it was without. I don't think I could do that successfully with how.
It's like pointing very hardly. What is this? If that's not broken, I don't know what isn't. What
it's
is?
still working. Look, the screen is on. It's not. What is it called? Blue screen of death when it doesn't work anymore. It still works. Look, your ridiculous non-English is on there.
Cipher's looking for the plug hole.
It's there.
The socket. Oh, it is there.
It's at the back of the seat part, where it would be on the laptop, because the seat is basically like the keyboard part. It's just oddly shaped now.
Okay.
Everything is still there and still functional. It is just also a chair.
You're gonna have to go and ask Fennyman for to see if you can get another one.
Are there any specifics, or am I just asking for any computer? Because
No.
a computer that isn't a chair.
Fine. It looks like I'm gonna have to go. I need some. Cipher sort of like got her hand up towards at her face, and she's just pinching the top of her nose.
And Terry's like, careful, your makeup is perfect.
Oh, the makeup's perfect. Oh, that's fine then. What about the rest of you?
Why don't you go look? There's a mirror right there.
So Cipher walks over to the mirror. I guess she's feeling a little bit unstable at the moment because she's feeling taller. It's like the world is like, what, how high? A foot below her?
A foot higher than she's used to being.
Yeah.
So how tall did you say she was? She was like 5'2"?
She's 5'4".
5'4".
Yeah.
Alright, so she's actually taller than Terence now by a couple inches.
Okay, so what's Terence? Terence around 6 foot.
Yep.
So an average elf is about 6'2", from what I read.
Perfect. She's a little bit taller than the average elf.
Alright. Well, at least you got something right. I'm actually rather impressed with that part, but I'm not very impressed with what you've done to me laptop, baby. Yeah, I've had this thing for years. It's got all my hacking software on it. Cipher sort of like stops before she gets too. She knows that she's just going to get a little bit more emotional the more she continues to talk about it. You've killed me only daughter.
Terence is like grimacing, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I'll fix it. In the meantime, hang on, I'm gonna." And he goes behind his screen thing, and he kind of like rummages around, and you can hear him messing about. And he comes out, and he's wearing like a business casual suit, and he has covered up the facial markings that he has with this like really thick makeup that you can kind of see the edges of, because he kind of just quickly slapped it on his face. He's like, "Is this okay? What do you think?"
You're going looking like that.
Well, I'm just in training, right? I don't get a uniform yet. Come on. Let's go talk to Mr. Fennyman about that loaner. we can get for you while I think of a way to fix this.
You
chair.
mean you're gonna cup out? You're gonna cast your funny business on me? But you're not gonna do it to yourself. I guess that might be a good thing. But if you're in training, you're gonna need more practice.
I thought the story was I was in training for the company, the IT company.
Yes, but the trainers, the apprentices, still wear the same uniform as those that would work there.
You're just bitter because I turned your laptop into a chair.
I'm not bitter. I'm telling you the truth. Trust me. I don't want you to. Knowing what I know now, I probably wouldn't have sat in the middle of that bloody circle. Feck me. Feck.
He kind of looks at you, and he rolls his eyes, and he's like, I like this suit! And he goes and he gets a piece of chalk, and he draws a much smaller circle for himself, because he doesn't need to add things like soap and makeup, because he's already got makeup on his face. And he draws a few symbols, and he does the same stance that he did for your transmutation, as he stands in the middle of his own circle. And going to adjust this roll a little bit.
You'll only have 1p.
Will it only be 1p?
Well, there's no additional stuff you need to add, will it?
Oh, you're right.
I'm looking at Aaron.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it really the spells only get more complicated as you add stuff. And so you should roll the same thing again. I just looked up and I went, really?
Nope. Okay, here we go.
Oh, no.
you know, again, there's only one actual success out of 3 yellows against 1 purple.
But I got a triumph.
Yeah, you did.
So, the same kind of effect happens. The circle's components, like, poof up in a cloud of dust around Terence. And, like, as it settles around him, he's in the same kind of blue suit that Cipher is wearing. He's got the same yellow accents. His makeup is almost like you can't tell he's wearing makeup. His facial markings are just seem to be gone. And for the triumph, I'm going to say that he managed an additional illusion of pointing his ears in this transmutation spell, because I forgot to mention that he was going to try and do that. So he now looks like an elf-ish. Kind of like a really square-jawed elf. Maybe a half-elf. But more elf than he did before. That's the only kind of triumphy thing I can think of for this kind of spell. Alright.
Cipher's in the background, sort of ignoring what's going on, trying to figure out if there's a way to actually salvage at least some parts of this laptop.
Terence is looking at her as she's like fussing over the chair creation he accidentally made, and he's like, it's still fully functional. If you keep messing with it, it might break. Those legs don't look stable. Look at how thin they are. They're made out of glass. Just leave it. I
still don't understand where the scotch went.
I thought you drank it.
I was sipping on it.
Terence looks worried now.
How do you think the detergent worked? It was powder. It needed a liquid. It mixed with the whiskey.
Yeah, but Terence also poured water, so it could have mixed with the water, I guess, and the detergent. Do you smell like whiskey right now? Whiskey and detergent? Like you had a really bad bender and people washed it away. He rolls his eyes, goes up to you, and specifically sniffs your shirt sleeve. And he goes, yeah, that got in the detergent. You smell like you've been rolling in a bar. And you're gonna try and go to work like this. As an IT tech. If you want, I can try and undo this right now.
No. Cypher's waving her hands frantically in front of her, shaking. No.
All right.
We'll go with what we got.
Well, let's go see if we can get you a laptop, even if it doesn't have everything you're used to having. It'll be more useful than nothing, right?
Well, I'll go upstairs and actually no, not upstairs.
Terence's apartment doesn't have an upstairs. It's one room and a bathroom, and that's it. There's no upstairs.
I need me toolbox from home, so if we can drop by there first. As long as I can find a terminal in the complex. But then we might go back to Fennyman and see if he's got a laptop laying around that I could use.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel really bad. I'm sorry. I'm glad it still works, though. The likelihood that I can undo this is higher if it's not broken entirely.
All right, I'll leave it in your. And she puts her hands up in front of her face, holding 2 fingers each, quoting "capable fingers."
He kind of sheepishly scratches the back of his head, and he's like, "All right, let's go."
All right, let's head back to my place first, so I can pick up my toolkit, and then we'll head over to Fennyman, and then because we're gonna, do this work order today.
He gestures for you to lead the way.
Okay, so where are you going?
Okay, so we're heading back to Cipher's place first. I'm assuming it's only walking distance from Terence's place.
You're in a like I said in the first one, you're in a sort of a block area, so it's not like massive. Like you're not having to travel all over the place. You're like from the bar to your places. It's within, it might be a little bit of a walk, but it's walking distance.
We're just walking out in this bad weather in our newly fangled uniform.
Oh, so if it's bad, we might want to take some umbrellas.
Yeah, all right.
So do you have any?
I have several. They're all very flashy. Do you want the one that's blue with the purple polka dots, or do you want the striped green and orange one?
The striped green one, please.
He hands it over to you. It's one of those extremely pointy ones that kind of look like bat wings, aside from the stripy colors. And it's got the U handle. The one with the polka dots is just one of those kind of like purse ones that fold up real small, and he takes that one for himself.
So we're heading back to Cipher's place first. So Cipher's place, when we get there, I'll be going to my fold-down bed, where I keep my toolkit. The house, Terence will see, is actually fairly clean, which is probably not what you would expect of someone who's drinking all the time. There's a couple of dishes and cups in the sink, but that's about it. It looks like the floor's been freshly vacuumed. The bed's well made. There's no dishes or rags or anything. She's got you notice her clothes. She has a 1-room apartment as well, so everything's all in the one room. Yeah, and Cipher will make sure that she's got her toolkit. It's more for appearances, I guess. And then we'll head on over to Mr. Fenneman. Was Terence going to bring any potions?
Terence has been carrying around this kind of satchel sort of thing. It's somewhere in between a satchel and a purse. It's just this gray bag that he carries around with him almost everywhere, and it's got some potions in them. There's a couple of the one that he showed you the other day, or earlier today, sorry, and he's got some other ones in there too. You're not sure what they are, but occasionally if he jostles the bag in a certain way, you can hear them jangling around in there.
Mm-hmm. When we leave our apartment, I'll make sure that the door's locked.
Okay.
Cipher and Terence are heading making their way through the
Terence
visible weather.
is like sheepishly following you because he feels really bad about the fact that he did something weird to your laptop. Cipher reacted rather violently despite the fact that he didn't break it, so he feels really, really bad.
Well, yeah, because Cypher's laptop's like her baby. It's like, oh, her whole world revolves around that laptop.
Yeah.
All right, back at the club.
Okay, so walking into the club, it's a bit of a bizarre scene. There is Fennyman and Lambert and a bunch of the patrons, and the patrons look at various sort of degrees of Bowie weirdness, but Fennyman and Lambert have gone full Ziggy Stardust. He's got frills, which are a really super bright pattern. The lightning bolt has been sprayed on his face. It's over his fur. Mr. Lambert has a circle temporary tattoo in the middle of his shark head, and he's wearing a bright jumpsuit that looks like it was made from carpet with a huge upright collar. And there's a big poster for a Bowie tribute band called the Jarretts.
Terry forgets that he's upset about Cipher's laptop, and he is outraged that he is wearing this outfit that he is wearing instead of being a part of this cacophony of awesome. He's like, you, and he turns to Cipher, he's like, you convinced me to wear this monstrosity today when this was happening.
Cypher's
How dare you? He's so upset.
What? What are you talking about? You weird freak.
And he's got his like head in his hands, and he's like so upset that he missed the opportunity to not be the odd one out.
And Magic Dance is just coming to the end.
Oh. Terence is like pouting a lot.
Cypher's like, I have no idea what's going on, but they all look completely ridiculous.
We look ridiculous. We're the weird ones here.
No, we look normal. Well,
Terence kind of like looks at her, and he's got this ridiculous grumpy face on, and then he turns and he goes and he walks towards Mr. Fennyman without waiting for her.
you see? And Cypher's like raising her voice and pointing at him. This is karma. This is getting you back for what you did to me earlier. This is the universe getting back at you. And then, bartender, get me a whiskey. And she's walking over to the bar.
Barman gives you one, takes a sniff. Smells like you've started already.
For fuck's sake. If I wasn't burning it. So she will then catch up to Terence while she's sipping on her.
So you get over to Fennyman and Lambert, and they're having a discussion. So, hang on. This geezer spent years doing tasks for this truly horrible woman, and instead of saying fuck off, he instead says, as you wish. Well, kind of, but that's not the point. And as you wish doesn't mean fuck off, but I love you? Why didn't the idiot just say, I love you? Well, and then, despite the farm looking like a grand place to live, plenty of food, great scenery, this greasely Wesley, well, he's the one that fucks off. He gets caught by pirates, who then also mentally torture him by telling him they will kill him every single fucking day. So this greasely Wesley, he has this thing for being treated like crap, so he's gone for years, comes back, and is then mad that his lady bits didn't wait for him, even though she was told that it was Roberts that killed everyone and had him. Well, but, so he gets her, and then he treats her like crap, till she shoves him off a fucking cliff, and then they love each other again, and he was Roberts. Yes, he was the current one. He was gone for years. Yes. Doing piratical Roberts things. Yes. Yes, Mr. Fennyman, that's all very true. But he did that so he could come back to his true love. He's killing everyone he meets. What? Her true love. That Aryan boy was a mass murderer. She seemed awfully chilled with the trail of bodies he must have left behind. You know, the only one that was honest in that whole movie was Maximum Dinklage. Humperdinck. Well, his motives were clear right from the start. And he probably killed less people than Greasley too, Wesley. I think Shakespeare got it right. Dagger I am thy sheaf, and everybody dies. Wait, are you crying, Mr. Lambert? For Christ's sake, we're not cutting olives here.
Olives?
What do you two want?
Can you believe this woman made me wear this monstrosity for Bowie Day?
Who the fuck are you?
What? Oh, right. I forgot I look different. Hi, Mr. Lambert. It's Terry. I've changed myself. Look, I'm doing the job.
Dear God.
It's pretty good, right?
He's like walking around. So is this real or is this an illusion? If I poke Cipher here, will she pop like a balloon?
Why don't you try it?
Cipher's just like stepped back away.
Terry very desperately wants Mr. Fennyman and his sharp claws to poke Cipher right now. He's like, try it.
Get your finger away from me. How you mean, Becca?
He didn't pop.
No, that's because it's not an illusion. I pulled out my transmutation for this one.
So he's looking at you with this big Ziggy Stardust, like sprayed on makeup on his fur, on his face. And he really sincerely says, you two look weird. So what is it you want?
Cipher's eyebrows just sort of raised. Is he really? Really? You calling us
Yeah.
weird?
Terence looks like he's about to cry.
I need to get my hands on a laptop now.
Where's yours?
I turned it into a chair.
You turned his laptop into a chair.
Yeah, I didn't think to take the chair, the whiskey bottle, or her laptop out of the circle before I transmuted this wonderful disguise. It all kind of came together. It still works, which is kind of cool, but it's a chair now. Which means we need to borrow one of your laptops for the job.
Alright. And Mr. Lambert walks over to the counter and comes back. It's an older one. It's not spectacular, but it'll do the job.
Mm-hmm. As long as it's not like an old 386 DX40 or something like that.
Well, it's not a chair.
It's now slightly more powerful than what I have.
Doesn't exist on glass legs at the very least.
Cipher loads, turns it on to make sure the laptop's got full charge, or make sure that there's at least an hour left, just enough to get what we need to do and do what we need to do.
Does she feel like she's trying to replace her child?
No, because that just can't happen.
Alright.
Memories.
I heard memory.
We're having a Bowie concert, and you two look like you're coming from the Village People.
That's because we're working. We can't have fun. I can't have fun anyway. You're having fun anyway. Terence turned to Cipher to say that.
I'm not having fun.
He looks pointedly at your whiskey glass.
Oh, as she quickly downs it and puts the pulls it behind her, away from Terence's eyes. Yes, no, you didn't see that.
I can still smell it. And he walks towards the exit again.
Cipher puts the glass down on the nearest table, and she follows.
He kind of stands outside for a bit, and he's like,
There's a cheer goes up as they start playing the next song.
I can't believe I'm missing a Bowie tribute concert for this.
It's Life on Mars.
We have an entire week, and you had to choose the Bowie concert day. All right.
Don't know what you're whinging about. It's just a bunch of people rambling and dancing and carrying on. Doesn't make any sense to me. It's not like he was the greatest singer in the world.
He turns to you and he's like very visibly irritated. He's like, "All right, this is yours. This is you lead it. What do we do next, boss? I am but a measly intern."
Call your taxi friend. We're gonna need a lift to get back to the office.
Terence pulls his phone out of his pocket and he like grumpily mashes in the information he needs to call up George McGriffin.
Hello.
Hey George, we need a ride if you can come by the club.
Yeah, I can do that. Where? Like right now?
Yes, please.
Okay, give me 5 minutes. So I'm not far.
Excellent.
David, will you ever sing a song about fashion? Fashion.
Terence turns to look at you. He's so angry. He can't even. It looks like he's trying to articulate something, and then he gives up, and he closes his phone, puts it back in his pocket, and kind of crosses his arms, just kind of grumps at his own feet.
So Cipher's sort of like looking at him like, huh? Well, didn't he sing a song about fashion? Well, didn't he? She's like keeping pressing.
He turns to look at her again, and he's like, "How would you know that?" And he's giving you this incredulous look.
Listen to the radio?
Yep.
That's just one of those useless bits of information that you pick up every now and then. I mean, it's not like it was a big song or anything. I mean, it wasn't that great.
Terence is like desperately looking down the road, hoping that George will come by soon.
He pulls up.
Terence gets in the front seat.
It says Cipher's getting in the back. He's obviously aware that he's done something, or she's done something wrong now.
Terence is a huge Bowie fan.
Cipher is completely oblivious to this.
George is like looking at both of you, but especially Cipher, but also at Terence, who now has ears. Is there something I should know about?
Girlie has no culture. She says Bowie is irrelevant.
Thinking about asking you to get out of my cab.
Or we could play some Bowie, just really, really loud, so she can't talk.
And he digs out a CD, or something the equivalent of, and puts it on. And just before he presses play, he's like, there's a really great tribute band playing at Cornerstones today.
You picked us up from Cornerstones, we know.
Yeah, they're so good. They're so good.
Yeah, we caught a little bit of it as we were leaving. Maybe we'll catch it next time.
So he thumps play, turns it up, turns it back down. Where are we going?
You remember that corporate office building we went to last time?
Oh yeah, where we started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, drop us off a block away
Turns
from
it
there.
back up.
Okay. I could hack into this bloody taxi and turn it off.
You could, but in the meantime, he turned it up just in time to cut you off.
So you're rocking down the streets to various Bowie songs, and then he pulls up about a block away. You can see it, but he didn't pull up like right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
Terence reaches over as he pulls to a stop, and he turns down the volume a bit, and he says, "Thank you very much, George. I was really feeling down about missing that concert, and that helped."
Always a pleasure.
Right. We're gonna get going now. Thank you again. And Terence gets out of the cab.
Righty then. And Cipher gets out the back with the umbrella, opening up. Is it still raining?
It's stopped, but there's puddles. It's sort of got that damp, slightly oppressive feel.
Do you think we should leave the umbrellas behind? Because we don't really want to take them into the building.
Terry is just looking at you as you mess with the umbrella he lent you. He's got his in his bag because he got a tiny portable one. And he asks, "Did George drive away already?"
No, he hasn't yet. He's
Oh,
going
he
through
hasn't.
some stuff.
He looks behind him and he's like, "If you want to leave it with George, you better do it quick."
George, do you want to have a can you look after this for us? And holds up the umbrella, showing George.
If you say Bowie was the greatest showman that ever lived,
You've got to be fucking with me.
he puts a hand over his ear, like he's cupping it. He's like it's an exaggerated. I'm listening.
Bowie, whoever he was the greatest showman ever lived.
All right, I'll look after it.
That just rolled out like dirt. That's why I put the whoever Bowie was. Throws the umbrella into the back seat. Turns around to look at Terence.
Terence has his arms folded in front of him and he's like, "Lead on, oh fearless leader."
I suppose you believed that Bowie was the greatest singer in the world too.
So you didn't know who he was?
I'm saying, I suppose you think he was the greatest singer in the world.
Well, at least one of the greatest singers in the world, yes.
Oh, you might have to educate me one time on who this guy was. If he was that great, I would have thought I would have heard of him. Anyway, let's get this job done.
Terence is like rubbing his temple like he's got the biggest headache as he follows behind you.
So we're sort of macking our way towards the office through the crowd. Yeah, not like just normal, just casually walking, I guess.
So you can see, again, that the compound for Sylvan Information Services, it's located in a decent part of town. The lawns are very cut that surround the building. There's a fence, but at the moment there is the gates are open because it's nearing the end of business, but it's not right there yet. The trees that are planted, they're done in an obvious way. They don't look like they've been just grown randomly sort of thing. They do actually look like they've been arranged. Then there's a small series of ponds that are joined by bridges. And you can tell as you're walking through the compound that they've got koi and stuff like that swimming in them. The building itself is 2 stories tall, and you're pretty sure that there is a basement, looking just at the sort of shape of it. You can see at the moment there are 2 guards visible on the outside. There's a few workers that are sort of using the grounds just to relax in. The guards have like truncheons, but they don't have guns. And you can see 2 more guards inside in like the foyer area sitting behind a security station. And there is like an info desk and a couple of female elves sitting behind there.
Do they have batons?
Yeah.
Or batons?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they doesn't look like they have any lethal weapons on them. And they're paying attention,
Cipher.
But they're not like super paying attention. It's not like they're not like on edge and look like they're ex-military ready to, they just look like security. Yeah. And you can, look at map 1 if you sort of want to see an overall layout.
Okay, in maps, map 1. Like, caramba. Mm-hmm. E is what?
Elevator.
Wow, so many elevators.
I'm guessing entirely. I think E is elevator. I'm not sure what W and M is.
E, it says it on the thing.
Oh. What is M and W?
Men's and women's.
Oh. Can women get more surface area?
Strangely enough, that's actually a real life thing. Yeah. It's because women's washrooms usually have more toilets.
Ah.
And once he started thinking about it, he's now desperately trying not to.
That's why I said it. Sorry. What are we doing, Cipher?
Yeah, Cipher. Okay, so we're walking up to the front desk.
Like the doors are, they really smooth. They open the glass it's really like they've really done a kind of hoopy job. Like when the doors slide open, it says like Sylvan Information Services, but as it slides open, parts of it, when it's fully open, make a leaf on the open part, and then it closes again when you go through. So they've just spent some time to be like artistically cool.
Terence loves it. He's looking at it in like wonder.
Cipher's like pokes Terence. Come on, stop dawdling.
So the security's at either side of the front door. They look at you, but they don't pay much attention. Like they're not like, they're not on edge or anything. They just, they acknowledge that you've entered the building, sort of thing, but they're not like doing anything aggressive. And ahead of you, there is the information desk, and there is 3 attractive female elves sitting there, and one of them is smiling at you, like looking at you.
So I'll walk up to her, or Cipher will walk up to her. We got a work order to fix a terminal down near your mainframe.
And she types on her thing, and
I'll tell them the company. What was the company name?
And she looks up and says, I don't have any work order in my system.
Marlet IT Services. What do you mean you don't have any work order?
There's no...
It turns around to Terence. Didn't you tell me there was a work order for this place today?
Yes, I did. I thought there was. I mean, I saw it in the clipboard. And he's like scratching his head. I'm pretty sure we had a work order to fix something in the... What did it say?
There's a terminal down in the mainframe room.
Yeah, that.
Why don't you look it up again,
sorry, Lassie? Lassie? What?
Lassie. I'm not telling that to Terence. I'm actually turning back to the receptionist and saying, "Why don't you look up that again, Lassie?"
And she's got one eyebrow up at the Lassie comment. There's no work order in my system.
Terence is grimacing. He's like, I'm really sorry. I don't think I punched it in. I'm an intern. I'm just learning this stuff. I had a paper order, and he rummages in his bag for some like loose paper that he has, and he tries to like kind of illusion it as he's pulling it out of the bag.
Okay.
So it's gonna be really difficult.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Clever, because we didn't think about this. And we're not wearing ID badges either.
When the player creates the threat and then sort of forgets about how he's going to play it out.
All right. So this spell, that is that, and that is that. Am I putting a setback on this?
Yeah,
because it's like
you're doing it. I'm assuming you're trying to be like quiet and obvious, but not obvious in it. But that's sort of why the black's there. You're trying to make this harder to be.
Yep, kind of sleight of hand edition. Yeah. So it's 2 purples and a setback.
What's the second purple for?
Him trying to be discreet, but if that's what the setback is for.
I mean, if you think it's that hard, then do 2 purple. But if you do 2 purple, you don't. Because there's 1 for casting the spell, and then 1 for adding extra components. But the only extra component you're adding is that I can think of is you're trying to make it.
All right, that's I kind of brain farted a bit.
It's okay. I just don't want to make it. I don't want to make stuff extra difficult just because, sort of thing.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, Terence is gonna try and finagle this. And he
awesome.
As he's pulling out this piece of paper, he manages to unstopper what nobody can see, but is basically an ink bottle, and arrange the ink on the paper as he's pulling it out. And the illusion spell works in a way where the ink will it will form into what he said it is, as he's saying what it is, and as he's pulling it out of the bag. And I'm going to say that that's the advantage. I had a really cool thing if I got a triumph again, but that didn't happen.
Nothing from the setback, which was good.
Yes. So he pulls it out, and the paper is what he says it was, is that it's a work order to work on the mainframe. And he's like, I'm really sorry. I think I may have forgotten to punch it in the system.
And she takes the form, she looks at it, and she doesn't seem massively suspicious because it's not a massively suspicious thing. So she sort of looks it over and says, "Oh, okay, I'll make a note." And she hands you 2 visitor passes. And she says, "Second elevator at the back is to the basement."
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, young lass.
She hates you.
Terence kind of like shakes his head a little bit and mouths "I'm sorry" to her as he's clipping his badge on.
Cipher's just making enemies wherever she goes. Okay, so clipping my badge on as well while walking towards the elevator. And I guess once we get to the elevator, we're pushing the button.
Door slides open. It's already there.
Cool.
Basement.
All right.
Right. Terence is entirely following your lead here because he has no idea about any of this stuff. He could talk to people in this situation, and that's about it.
It says B1 loading, and B2 says mainframe.
B2.
And it hums really nice and smooth. It comes to a stop. The door opens, and it's freezing down there.
Wish I brought a jacket. Dang, why is it so cold?
Because it's a mainframe, and mainframe rooms are generally cooled by massive air conditioners.
All right, but why doesn't
there is a reasoning behind that, because if you really want to know, I could go into a lot of detail, but the general gist of it is when a computer works on calculations, etc., it gets hot. The more it gets hot, the less accurate it becomes. That's when errors can start. So computers are used to keep them cool, so they become more efficient. We've actually seen you can actually have your computer. I've seen some crazy people, and they actually get an air conditioner and they bolt it directly on the side of a computer just so they can ramp up the performance of it.
Terence looks mildly horrified, and he's like, "That's worse than your chair laptop." And he walks out of the elevator.
And there's a lot of computer banking, and you can see there's 2 guards, and they sort of have a look, but they see the visitor badges, so they just go back to doing what they're doing.
Okay, so Terence, Cipher will walk over to probably a terminal that's away from the guard.
Well, because the mainframe,
sort of
the main part of it takes up the center of the room, and there's like a console and that built into the side of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll go directly to that. So
we'll follow you and try not to act too suspicious because everything here is like giant and crazy, and he has no idea what any of it does.
Lots of flashing lights and noises, computer noises.
He's so out of his depth right now.
Cipher's just like walking normal because this is like normal. It's like it's just computers. Making sure that Terence isn't getting caught up. Maybe tapping the underside of his chin as his jaw drops.
Well, he's not that bad. He's just kind of like wide-eyed, like shifty looking around. Kind of like, it's a bit overwhelming for him. But he's still following you fairly closely.
Once we get to the terminal, I want to find out the author of this book. Do we know the author? We do.
You don't remember the author? We came all this way and you don't remember the author?
Cipher puts her head in her palm again.
Terence checks over his shoulder to make sure that the guard are either not paying attention or they didn't hear
It
them.
echoed a little because it's that sort of room, but they haven't paid much. It doesn't look like they're paying attention to you.
Right, Terence drops his voice in. The author is Aaron Scribe.
Alright. I'll access the system and see if, because it's a direct link, I should be able to get some information.
And you're lucky that you didn't have data stick become part of your chair.
Oh shit.
The data stick was just in her pocket, so it didn't get transmuted into that it was part of the
Which is
clothing
what
part of the
I
transport.
assume. I'm just saying.
Yep.
If it had been,
Because that didn't happen with her phone either.
Yeah.
'cause it
Actually,
was-
Cipher's double checking the pockets. Yep. Oh, it's a great sigh of relief. So, oh, thank
I'm just pointing that out now because
yeah, everything in pockets were safe.
there's a moment of Cipher suddenly looking pale and afraid and quickly searching and then suddenly holding up this data and just go, ah.
That would have been a despair moment, I think. That data stick getting fused into a chair.
Yeah, I didn't assume that. It was just no one brought it up, so I just thought I was just going to remind people that there was also the data stick that was vital to the mission. That would have been a maybe you want to hold this while this happens.
Yeah.
But you have the stick.
Next
You
time.
have the stick.
We will know next time.
No, you won't. You'll do it again. But you have the stick.
No, my laptop's staying well away from his spells in future. if I ever get my baby back, my poor baby. Can I find out which room if this author has a room in this building? Room number.
The author does not have a room.
Is there a map for the room we're in currently?
Basement, I think that is. No.
Alright, so
They
the
didn't give
room we're
It's
in.
just a big square room with lots of bits.
Okay.
Well, the actual like mainframe parts, which are. It's not like terminals. There's just a couple of terminals connected to it.
Terence is going to stare at what Cipher is doing and pretend to understand what's going on, because he has no idea.
Hang on. Excuse me 1 sec.
I know that ringtone. I used to have that ringtone.
The guards look over.
Shit. She's just gotta take a quick call.
They nod, sort of wave in acknowledgement, go back to what they're doing. And they just seem to be guarding the room. It looks like just a requirement that they need to have security in the mainframe room to stop people doing what you're about to.
Yep. Terence is trying to look casual. Like, he's just kind of standing there, rocking, kind of like averting himself so that it doesn't seem like he's listening in on the phone call that he's not sure if Cipher is pretending to take, because they are in a basement. He doesn't know. Cipher might have like a super cool, like, upgraded phone that has awesome signal because she's like techie like that. Terence isn't sure.
Well, there might be a booster in the basement.
It could be. He's just kind of standing there, rocking back and forth on his heels. And he's not wearing flashy clothes. I guess that could confuse people.
Sorry about that. Has anything happened?
The guards looked over when your phone started ringing, and I just told them that you needed to take a call from the office.
Oh.
So we're good.
Okay. Now, I'm looking... Cipher's looking at Terence. It's like, so we know the author, but we don't know where this manuscript is.
Can't you search the... We're in a computer room. Can you not search the computer for the author's name?
Well, we I just did a search for the author's name.
There's lots of stuff on.
And he doesn't...
Yeah, but what you asked specifically what office? He doesn't have an office.
He doesn't have an office in this building.
We're not looking for an office, though. We're looking for a manuscript.
Yeah, but the manuscript is going to be in one of the offices.
Not necessarily. I mean, he's an author. He doesn't necessarily have a space in a publishing company. He probably operates out of his own home. They might have a storage room for that kind of thing. And you're starting to get the impression that Terry likes books, despite not having very many in his apartment. But he seems to know a little bit about publishing, at least. And, like, it's a bit odd that he starts rattling off all these details about how books normally get published in a company like this.
Okay, so... Let's see. to be awfully knowledgeable. I wonder if you know so much, where would this storeroom be? Maybe B1. What was B1? Trying to recall what level B1 was.
You do know that you wouldn't have access to anywhere else other than here.
No, but we can find out the name of the manuscript. If you search the author's name by entry date, you should be able to find the most recent thing he submitted to this company, and that should give us the name of the manuscript that we're trying to get rid of.
Great idea. Cipher holds up a hand. Great idea. It's like, ding. It turns back to the terminal.
Terry checks his shoulder again to make sure the guards aren't too suspicious.
They're not paying super attention.
Okay, so searching for the most recent entry about this author.
And there's a bunch. He's got several books that are out. And the most recent seems to be stuff relating to a book called A Better Tomorrow.
A Better Tomorrow. Just wondering if I should put the thing down. Or should we wait? Where was this manuscript supposed to be? Cipher's looking at Terence. Did we think to ask, was the author supposed to have it, or was the publishing company supposed to have it? So
our employer in this case did say that the publishing company had the only physical copy. Okay. So it should be somewhere in this building. You might be able to find it in the computer somewhere if there is that kind of thing. I don't know how you would look for it. Use your hacking skills. Come on.
Yep. I'm going to... we're not going to do it now. But the reason why we're here is so that... Okay, so I open up my toolbox and pull out a thumb drive containing little surprises. So... what I am wanting to do is to set up a subroutine to basically run at a particular time. Say tomorrow night, after everyone's left, so we're assuming that everyone knocks off around 5 o'clock. We want to come in, say, 1 a.m. in the morning. So a subroutine that runs and throws some interference with security. So basically... allowing the security cameras to be taken control by me, so I can switch them off remotely or put them on recycle, so they're recycling the same image. Does that make sense? Because we really need this to happen without too much interference from security and being caught and making people aware, can we spend a story point?
Do you have any left?
Nope.
Oh, don't we?
Nope, we used it.
When did we use it?
We used it to find out the name of the company of their IT services.
We did too. That was the... Okay. Okay. Never mind. Trust in my skills. How many did you say?
Just 2 purple.
3 purple?
Not 3. It would have been 3 otherwise you're in the mainframe, so I'm assuming you're having more access to it.
Yeah. Cross his fingers. Oh. Wow.
Okay. So you have two advantages.
2 advantages.
You know, things didn't go terribly wrong. Didn't work. You're not satisfied that what you wanted to do will do it.
Is going to work. Yeah. So, not sure. I've got the little bit of malware in the system, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to access it remotely as soon as we enter the building. It may be that I will have to find a terminal or a computer or something inside the building, which leaves us wide open. But I don't want to play any further because it might alert the system that someone's playing around inside the system. So it's a little backdoor key that I've got. Worst case will be that we'll need to, if I can't access it remotely, I'm going to have to use the terminal. So sort of talking this to myself quietly, sort of with Terence at the same time. Just loud enough so that Terence can hear. But okay. So with that, I'll slide the terminal keyboard back into the mainframe. Turn around to the guards, smile. Job's all done.
And I'll assume that you were able to get a complete map of the building too, like if you didn't have that already.
Okay.
Actually, give me a computer roll. One thing, it's against 2 purple.
See, just normal computer.
You know, this isn't hacking.
Like systems. Ops?
Yeah, it's not hacking. This is just computers.
Okay.
And you got your purples.
Ah.
You can just do 2 purples, and we can.
How many purple?
We'll work it out based on what you get. Okay. So,
Oh,
no, with the 2 threat, cancel out. You succeeded by 1. The 2 threat can cancel out.
Oh yeah, I got one success.
That's 1 success.
Yeah.
You notice one big file. You don't have time to examine it, but it does stand out as being unusual, and it's not related to Aaron Scribe specifically. It just, looking at it, it just sort of stood out as being, oh, that's a big data file, that is.
Not something that I can download now. Obviously, take some time to rip. Yep. All right. So I'll keep this to myself for now until we get outside the building.
It sort of seems to be like a spreadsheet kind of thing, just sort of by the file type, like, but it's big.
So it could be a spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's that sort of file like extension kind of thing, but the file size is really big.
All right. So we'll head on over to the elevator, motioning for Terence to follow.
Terence follows.
Keeping a little bit of a grin on my face. So anyway.
Terence looks worried. Like you're cackling in front of these guards.
I'm inside.
He says, saying that you're cackling on the inside
Oh, yes.
out loud does not, that doesn't work.
That's just a funny joke I thought of. About a certain singer.
Terence gets a little bit uptight and he's like, all right. We've done the thing, we finished the job, we came here to do, he says a little bit loudly, or louder than normal. Let's
watch.
Finish up and go.
It's almost knockoff time.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we might as well go and have an early afternoon then.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so when we're in the elevator. Yep. I came across a file in the system. Couldn't actually find out where the manuscript was, but obviously we'll have a look where you said it would be, maybe in one of the storerooms or something. But I did come across a file that was, unusually large, so it might actually contain some information on the author and where this manuscript might be. So remind me when we get into here again to download this file and have a bit of a look at it.
Did you get a look at, like, a surface of what was in there, or any kind of indication?
Nah. Nay. But I did manage to get a little backdoor program in there, so when we come back tomorrow night, it'll be early in the morning, say 1 a.m. I think I set the timer for. So we'll have to be here on the dot.
All right. Give me a call when you want me to be up.
So when the doorbell dings and the doors open to the, I'm assuming, the main foyer, we'll start heading out the main door.
Terence will kind of grab your shirt sleeve and, like, get your attention. He's not gonna drag you anywhere. He's just gonna get your attention so you stop walking forward, and then he's gonna, like, get the name badge, the visitor badge, and he's gonna be like, we have to return these.
Okay. Cipher sort of slaps her forehead. Well, here's mine. Hands Terence.
Terence Goes over to the same girl that they talked to initially, and he hands back the badges and kind of like bows at her.
You have a good day.
You too. He's like obviously trying to be in her good graces as compared to his supposed boss.
And you definitely get the feel that she likes you more.
Cool. I don't know how I'm gonna use that yet, but I will try. And Terence leaves the building with Cipher.
End of part 2. Shadowrun, a slice of life adventure in a dystopian future, starring Becca as Terry the Mage, Raveninsane as Cipher the Hacker, and Ghost as the GM. The excellent Shadowrun is produced by Catalyst Game Labs. The Genesys rule set comes from Fantasy Flight Games, and many of the sounds and music comes from Syrinscape, which is an amazing tool for bringing more life to your game table. This has been a Kritfayle production.